*****6000. Beneath the noisy restless chaos of the mortal world there once lived a peculiar soul who spent his whole life peering through ancient telescopes trying to sneak a glimpse into the divine ledger written across the boundless starry sky. Camille Flammarion stood as a rare and contradictory figure straddling two vastly different realms of human understanding. He was at once a meticulous rigorous astronomer dedicated to precise cosmic observation and mathematical calculation, and a passionate unrestrained aesthete consumed by romantic fantasy, ethereal reverie and profound spiritual longing. His entire life drifted endlessly between the cold rational logic of rigid mathematical formulas, astronomical data and empirical science, and the burning fervent ecstasy of spiritual communion, supernatural visions and mysterious metaphysical perception. Tonight, shrouded in the soft dim glow of flickering candlelight and wrapped in the quiet stillness of deep night, we wander slowly into his boundless grand dream, woven from shimmering starlight, distant nebulae, wandering constellations, and the eternal untouchable mystery of the human soul. Have you ever heard of a man who bound a profound literary masterpiece about distant stars, cosmic secrets and celestial beauty within a cover crafted from the skin of his dearest beloved companion? Camille Flammarion embraced this extreme, haunting and eerily beautiful gesture as the ultimate sincere tribute to eternal life, undying memory and the everlasting connection between mortal flesh and infinite cosmic eternity. His written words flow gently like a silent river of stars drifting across the quiet velvet darkness of midnight, calm and melancholic, soft and profound, yet carrying a gentle soothing power that eases inner anxiety and settles restless hearts. Let this slow tranquil narration lead you through the thick lingering mist curling over the old rooftops and quiet alleyways of historic Paris, uncovering the deep hidden loneliness, unspoken sorrow and untold longing lingering in the heart of this unparalleled poet of the stars who turned cosmic observation into timeless romantic art. Does the endless pursuit of scientific exploration lead ultimately to the profound truths of theological faith, spiritual transcendence and divine revelation? Or guide humanity toward an even deeper, more refined and profound form of aesthetic science blended with imagination, emotion and transcendent beauty? Camille Flammarion spent every passing year of his extraordinary life building a gentle, enduring bridge spanning the vast divide between mortal life and inevitable death, between fleeting earthly dust and everlasting radiant starlight. He was the most devoted, thoughtful stargazer of his era, the man who understood better than anyone how to lift his eyes from trivial worldly troubles and gaze upward in humble wonder at the grandeur of the universe. And he was also an unyielding free spirit who refused to bow to mediocre secular norms, narrow rational prejudice and the rigid boundaries set by mainstream academic authority. Within the serene undisturbed hush of this peaceful deep night, close your eyes gently and follow this immersive journey as we unravel the mysterious layered life story of this extraordinary cosmic visionary and unparalleled intellectual genius. Picture the quiet, secluded stillness of a late 19th century night in old Paris, where soft moonlight spills over tiled rooftops and narrow cobblestone streets sink into gentle shadow. And imagine opening a well-worn, treasured literary work titled Popular Astronomy, a timeless classic cherished by countless curious readers across Europe. The surface of its book cover carries a strange, warm, delicate texture, far softer and more intimate than ordinary leather, rough parchment or woven fabric. This haunting, peculiar material was once the living human skin of a noble countess, donated voluntarily upon her passing, dedicated solely to wrapping and protecting Flammarion's immortal writings on the stars. This unsettling yet breathtakingly beautiful historical riddle traces directly back to the brilliant, conflicted visionary who penned every line within its pages, Camille Flammarion. Long dismissed, marginalized and rejected by the rigid orthodox scientific community of his time as an outcast, a heretic and a fanciful dreamer disconnected from objective reality, he was nevertheless deeply revered, admired and cherished by ordinary people across the continent, regarded as a gifted, enlightened prophet who stole soft fragments of starlight to share cosmic secrets with mortal humanity. He possessed the professional skill and precise mathematical talent to calculate the exact trajectory, timing and shadow path of solar and lunar eclipses with flawless accuracy. Yet he also held unshakable, heartfelt faith in the existence of the afterlife, firmly believing that he could hear the faint echoing whispers of departed souls and lingering spirits during quiet spiritual seances held in dim, secluded chambers. Tonight, beside the slow, steady flicker of warm, dancing hearth flames and the peaceful comfort of undisturbed evening calm, we walk together through this gentle, unhurried tale meant only for quiet reflection and inner peace, and explore the hidden truth and untold story behind Flammarion's remarkable, contradictory life. Throughout this expansive narrative, stretching from swirling distant nebulae and glowing constellations down to silent, forgotten tombs and quiet burial grounds, We gradually come to understand that extreme transcendent romanticism often carries with it a subtle indescribable touch of eeriness and haunting beauty beyond ordinary comprehension. Breathe slowly and evenly, allowing your wandering thoughts to drift alongside the polished glass lenses, brass frames and aged metal tubes of antique vintage telescopes. As your consciousness slowly focuses upon the vast profound starry sky deeply dyed and shrouded by ancient mysticism, spiritual speculation and endless cosmic mystery. The first irreversible crack that altered the destined life path of young Camille Flammarion unfolded on a cold rainy day in his 16th year, a pivotal moment that split his youthful world into rational order and spiritual wonder. In those early youthful days he worked diligently within the formal structured walls of the famous Paris Observatory, confined to repetitive monotonous daily labor. His simple mundane duty consisted of mechanically recording endless columns of cold lifeless numerical data, tracking atmospheric pressure changes, weather fluctuations and trivial astronomical details with tedious routine precision. Trapped within rigid institutional rules, boring administrative duties and the cold indifferent logic of traditional scientific research, his sensitive poetic soul slowly withered beneath endless repetitive labor and soulless data entry. Yet by pure accidental chance, on a quiet lazy afternoon shrouded in soft gray cloud and gentle drizzle, he wandered into a dusty old second-hand bookstore tucked away in a quiet Parisian lane, and stumbled upon a forbidden banned book delving deep into the hidden mysteries of spiritualism, psychic phenomena and the hidden connection between mortal consciousness and the spiritual realm. In that sudden transformative moment, the disciplined objective scientific observer who trusted only data measurement and tangible evidence was utterly transformed into a devoted obsessed follower of metaphysical exploration and spiritual pursuit. He suddenly awakened to a breathtaking universal truth far beyond the limited scope of contemporary scientific understanding. The vast universe was never merely a cold mechanical combination of atoms, molecules, matter and physical force, but a boundless living spiritual existence woven with invisible souls, lingering consciousness, eternal energy and endless transcendental possibility. From that day forward he began to secretly attend shadowy, secluded spiritual gatherings hidden within the thick mist and fog of Parisian nights. Sitting quietly in dim candlelit rooms, listening intently to faint tapping sounds, subtle table rapping and mysterious unexplained echoes. Eager to capture the faint tangible texture of departed spirits, lingering souls and the silent unspoken communication between the living and the dead. Word of his secret spiritual pursuits, unconventional beliefs and unorthodox after-hour activities soon spread throughout the observatory, eventually reaching the ears of Urbain Le Verrier, the strict renowned director of the Paris Observatory. A towering authoritative figure in global astronomy, celebrated worldwide for his groundbreaking discovery of the distant planet Neptune through pure mathematical deduction and rigorous calculation. Overcome with furious rage, fierce disapproval and uncompromising scientific orthodoxy, Le Verrier dismissed Flammarion on the spot, delivering a harsh, angry rebuke that echoed through the cold stone corridors of the institute. He declared with unyielding contempt that the sacred halls of professional scientific research existed solely for rational exploration, objective observation and empirical truth, not for superstitious ritual, occult practice and the foolish tricks of wandering sorcerers and charlatans. But for the young idealistic Flammarion, cast out from the rigid boundaries of institutional science, this sudden harsh dismissal was never a bitter punishment or crushing misfortune. Instead it became the long-awaited moment of complete spiritual liberation, freeing his boundless imagination, restless curiosity and romantic cosmic vision from the heavy chains of bureaucratic routine and narrow academic restriction. Freed at last from tedious report writing, boring statistical forms and cold institutional constraints, he picked up his graceful poetic pen, rich with vivid imagery, sentimental depth and transcendent imagination, and bravely reached toward the mysterious forbidden realms of cosmic speculation, spiritual exploration and metaphysical wonder that ordinary rational scholars dared never to acknowledge or explore. No longer satisfied with merely measuring, mapping and recording the fixed physical coordinates of distant stars, planets and celestial bodies, he began to ponder deeper, eternal questions lingering beneath the surface of astronomical observation, wondering quietly whether wise, conscious souls also dwelled among those glowing distant constellations. Whether countless intelligent beings scattered across endless star systems gazed back toward the tiny blue planet of Earth, sharing the same quiet longing for connection, eternity and cosmic belonging. In the years following Flammarion's rapid rise to widespread fame and literary renown, the whole of Paris fell into a peculiar contradictory era, swept up in passionate romantic fervor yet hollow spiritual emptiness beneath its glamorous surface. He retreated from the bustling crowded heart of central Paris to the quiet peaceful town of Juvisy-sur-Orge, where he designed, built and established his own private independent astronomical observatory nestled amid quiet countryside scenery. This unique personal sanctuary served dual intertwined purposes, standing both as a professional outpost for deep cosmic observation, night sky monitoring and astronomical research, and as an exclusive intimate salon for private spiritual gatherings, mysterious metaphysical ceremonies and free philosophical discussion beyond the reach of public judgment and mainstream criticism. Among all his devoted admirers, loyal followers and passionate readers, the most devoted, mysterious and hauntingly dedicated was a young noble countess suffering from terminal incurable illness, facing inevitable premature death in her youthful years. In her final fragile days, consumed by fatal sickness and quiet melancholy, the Countess crafted a most unusual heartfelt last wish born from her deep admiration for Flammarion and profound reverence for the eternal beauty of the stars. Upon her peaceful passing, she hoped to donate the smoothest, most delicate section of skin from her own back, offering a precious fragment of her mortal flesh to bind and cover the pages of Flammarion's newest published book on astronomy and cosmic philosophy. This bizarre morbid fixation, utterly incomprehensible, horrifying and disturbing to ordinary people bound by traditional moral values and aesthetic standards, represented in Flammarion's eyes the purest, most transcendent form of cosmic romance, a sacred selfless sacrifice surpassing physical flesh, mortal limitation and temporary worldly life. A supreme eternal tribute to the everlasting light of the stars and the unbreakable continuity of life beyond death. Without hesitation, moral hesitation or superficial prejudice, he honored the noble lady's final solemn wish, completing this unsettling legendary book-binding process in the quiet isolation of his observatory during countless lonely midnight hours. In the stillness of sleepless nights, he would gently trace his fingers slowly over the unique warm textured cover of the volume, as if caressing a lingering fragment of undeparted memory, a quiet remnant of unbroken affection and a tangible bridge connecting mortal life to the silent eternal cosmos. Driven by this profound experience of life, death and spiritual continuity, he devoted himself fully to writing and publishing a vast collection of influential works centered on the eternal immortality of consciousness, the indestructible nature of life energy and the endless migration of the soul after physical death. He firmly proposed the profound theory that human spiritual awareness, independent thought and inner consciousness would never vanish with the decay of mortal flesh, but embark on a grand cosmic journey, migrating across star systems to settle, evolve and ascend upon higher, more perfect distant planets bathed in eternal starlight. With exquisite ornate writing, soft sentimental tone and subtle sorrowful undertones, he painted vivid, breathtaking pictures for ordinary readers across the nation, describing the peaceful ethereal souls dwelling within the luminous rings of Saturn, the twinkling distant lights of alien civilizations glowing across the desolate plains of Mars, and the boundless spiritual world hidden deep within swirling cosmic nebulae. Though the orthodox scientific community continued to mock, ridicule, belittle and condemn his unconventional theories, mixing astronomy with spiritualism, dismissing his writings as fanciful fantasy, unscientific nonsense and dangerous superstitious delusion, countless ordinary Parisians, housewives, poets, artists, dreamers and curious common readers fell deeply in love with gazing upward at the night sky, inspired by his lyrical, moving prose and cosmic vision. He wove a subtle, haunting sense of morbid beauty into popular science, endowing cold astronomical knowledge with gentle emotional depth, romantic longing and irresistible eternal temptation that only blooms fully within the quiet darkness of night. As Flammarion advanced into old age, his secluded private observatory gradually transformed into a unique private museum filled with countless rare curios, precious collections, ancient spiritual relics and decades of research archives. Even as his physical strength slowly faded and the sharp clarity of his eyesight gradually dimmed with advanced age, he never abandoned his lifelong habit of stargazing and cosmic contemplation. Every quiet midnight he would climb alone up the narrow winding stairs of his observation tower, sitting motionless for hours on end before his massive custom-built telescope, gazing deep into the endless dark expanse of the night sky. His aging physical eyes grew increasingly blurred, dim and weakened, unable to distinguish fine celestial details as clearly as in his youthful prime. Yet the inner spiritual world he perceived grew increasingly clear, complete and profound, revealing layers of hidden cosmic truth invisible to purely rational material observation. He spent his declining years carefully organizing, sorting and compiling thousands of spiritual records, psychic accounts and first-hand witness reports collected throughout his long life, attempting to apply objective statistical methods, rigorous probability analysis and rational data arrangement to prove the undeniable existence of an afterlife and the eternal survival of the human soul beyond death. This lifelong pursuit embodied the most profound internal contradiction and spiritual struggle hidden within his soul. He spent his life wielding the most rational logical scientific research tools and objective analytical thinking, solely to capture, observe and verify the existence of intangible irrational spirits, invisible supernatural forces and the untouchable mysteries of the spiritual dimension. He once made a solemn public vow and promise to the world, declaring that if his consciousness retained perception, insight and spiritual connection with the mortal world after his own passing, he would surely send clear recognizable signals to the living through unique subtle cosmic frequencies, mysterious natural phenomena and unexplained worldly signs. This fearless, unflinching exploration of death, the afterlife and spiritual transcendence originated from the profound, overwhelming inner loneliness that lingered deep within his heart for his entire lifetime. Haunted by quiet isolation, endless misunderstanding and the gap between his unique cosmic perspective and narrow mainstream cognition, he spent decades striving tirelessly to convince a skeptical, indifferent world of a simple, comforting truth. Humanity was never destined to exist as lonely, isolated specks of dust drifting aimlessly in the cold, empty void of the universe. Each living soul instead stood as a unique, precious note woven into the grand, magnificent, eternal symphony of the cosmos, connected by invisible universal energy and shared cosmic destiny. Even when the thick, choking smoke and cruel chaos of the First World War spread across the European continent, drowning nations in brutal conflict, violent division and endless bloodshed, Flammarion never abandoned his peaceful cosmic perspective and compassionate universal vision. He continued to speak out publicly, issuing heartfelt appeals calling for an immediate end to senseless killing, violent conflict and national hatred, urging all people to lift their eyes from temporary worldly hatred and trivial earthly struggle, to gaze together at the impartial eternal constellations shining quietly high above all human conflict, prejudice and division. He believed firmly that all wartime chaos, human conflict and moral collapse stemmed from humanity's tragic forgetting of our shared cosmic origin and universal spiritual identity. Lost within the muddy chaos of short-term worldly desire, national conflict and fleeting mortal trouble, blind to the boundless eternal order quietly governing the stars above. In the soft, warm summer of 1925, sweet jasmine fragrance drifted gently through the quiet streets, gardens and countryside surrounding Paris, filling the gentle air with delicate, lingering scent. At the age of 83, Camille Flammarion sat peacefully beside his most cherished lifelong companion, his massive brass telescope that had accompanied him through decades of quiet midnight stargazing, and drew his final quiet breath, departing this mortal world in calm, serene tranquility. His last words were brief, obscure and full of quiet cosmic mystery, carrying the core belief that defined his entire life journey. From the stars we come, to the stars we return. Following his peaceful passing, researchers sorting through his massive collection of unpublished manuscripts, personal notes and handwritten archives discovered a delicate, carefully drawn star chart sketched entirely by his own hand, marked with precise, subtle symbols and hidden coordinates pinpointing the distant, quiet region of the galaxy where he believed all departed souls would eventually gather, merge and achieve eternal peace. His quiet passing marked the gentle end of an entire extraordinary historical era, a precious, fleeting period when scientific exploration had not yet turned completely cold, rigid and disconnected from human emotion. A time when rational inquiry could still dance gracefully alongside poetic imagination, romantic longing and spiritual reverie. That legendary, infamous book, bound with human skin, remains well preserved within the quiet library of his former observatory, standing as a strange, timeless relic of his unique life philosophy. The slow erosion of hundreds of years has deepened the solemn, subdued tone of its peculiar cover, yet it still retains a faint, lingering trace of gentle life, warmth and intimate spiritual connection. As time passed, later generations gradually began to re-evaluate, reinterpret and fully understand this misunderstood pioneering genius. People discovered that hidden between his numerous seemingly wild, fanciful spiritual records and metaphysical speculations lay countless forward-thinking insights, bold conjectures and accurate predictions about cosmic physics, astronomical phenomena and universal laws, many of which were gradually confirmed and proven correct by modern scientific research centuries later. He was once labeled, mocked and dismissed as a delusional eccentric, a fanciful madman lost in superstitious fantasy. Yet in truth he was far ahead of his time, a lonely pioneering visionary who intuitively comprehended the holographic, interconnected logic of the universe long before modern science. He dedicated his life to studying the quiet light of distant stars within the shadow of mortal tombs, searching tirelessly for traces of heaven, divine peace and spiritual eternity amid the trivial dust of earthly existence. Every choice he made, every path he took, and every belief he upheld carried the desperate, resolute determination of a moth drawn irresistibly to the gentle, unquenchable flame of cosmic truth. In the end he transcended mortal identity, time limitation and disciplinary division, evolving into a timeless symbolic figure in cultural and scientific history. A mysterious gentle bridge standing steadily between measurable tangible objective reality and intangible infinite unknown, between cold material science and warm eternal human soul. We return now to the haunting, beautiful riddle raised in the opening moments of this quiet night, the mysterious connection between mortal flesh, delicate skin and immortal starlight that defined Flammarion's extraordinary legacy. What precious lasting gift did this lonely stargazer leave behind for all future generations to cherish and reflect upon? Even in modern times, centuries after his era, when we quietly gaze upward at the steady shining North Star on a quiet sleepless night, we can still feel the subtle, soothing, calm, gentle comfort and quiet spiritual peace flowing endlessly from his timeless poetic words and cosmic writings. He comforted countless anxious hearts with his gentle philosophy, teaching the world that physical death is never a final, desperate end, but merely a beautiful, far-reaching journey of cosmic migration, a peaceful transition toward a broader, brighter, eternal spiritual existence among the stars. This profound, comforting worldview cannot be verified, proven, or explained by cold mathematical formulas, rigid scientific data, and rational logical reasoning. Yet it possesses irreplaceable, warm, healing power, capable of soothing inner fear, easing existential anxiety, and calming the endless unease hidden in every restless heart during lonely, sleepless nights. To echo the quiet, lingering question of fate that lingers through his story, he expressed deep, sincere love and eternal remembrance through the most eerie, unconventional, haunting methods, and interpreted the cold mysteries of astronomy, objective natural science and cosmic order through the most graceful, melancholic and profoundly beautiful poetic language. Now this slow, meditative tale draws softly to a peaceful close, and the faint, cold starlight drifting down from the quiet observatory in Juvisy wraps gently around your mind and body, bringing quiet detachment and serene relaxation. Within the gentle hush of this deep, peaceful night, may you walk in the spiritual footsteps of Flammarion, finding pure inner peace, tranquil clarity and unspoiled spiritual simplicity amid the boundless illusions, grand visions and eternal quiet charm of the vast universe. Surrender to the slow, silent rhythm of breathing woven within the gentle rise and fall of countless distant stars, and allow all daily weariness, mental pressure and trivial worldly troubles to fade away into soft, eternal stillness beneath the watching constellations. Good night, and may you rest in tranquil peace, surrounded by the quiet, eternal light of endless, sweet dreams.